In today's video, I am going to be breaking down a lot of the mistakes that I see coaches make and players make in the Horns offense. So if you find that you're not scoring as much or maybe turning over the ball a lot in the Horns offense, this video might be able to help you. Really quickly, make sure to go check out my Horns basketball playbook that is down in the description below. Now let's get down and let's check out the big mistakes that a lot of coaches and teams make. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see is a team will not be in their offense to start. Player one calls the offense Horns, whatever he wants to call it. Let's say Horns 1. And it takes like 8 seconds for a team to get into the offense. That's a huge mistake. Now, this is not just a Horns problem. This is a regular offense problem when you're running set plays, because if you're on a team that's running, let's say, 8 different set plays out of 3 different styles of offenses, guess what? You might be in a triangle offense and you might be calling Horns 1, and you got to get out of the triangle and you got to go to Horns, which is why you generally want to run the exact same sets throughout your whole offense. So if you want to have Horns 1, 2, and 3, and then have a simple motion, that's fantastic. Another mistake that I see specifically in Horns is this is either a laziness problem when it comes to the corner players. They don't go all the way to the corner to start. Or this could be just an inexperienced coach saying, yeah, I want to set up in a high 1-4, but we want to call it a Horns, and whenever I want to pass to the high post, player 3's gap defender is just going to take that ball away, because what's going to happen is if you pass to the post in a high 1-4 offense, guess what's going to happen? Player 3 is going to be ripping that ball away like there is no tomorrow. That's why you want to set up down in the corner in the Horns offense if you are going to be feeding the high post. If you want to feed that high post and you're in a high 1-4, guess who is going to be stealing that ball probably 9 out of 10 times? It's going to be player 3. That's why, again, you set up down in the corner. Now, a lot of inexperienced younger coaches will be making this mistake. So don't be an inexperienced coach. Make sure they set up down here. If players are lazy, however, and they're setting up here, and player 1 gets the turnover, you could blame player 1 because he's the point guard and he should be yelling at player 3 to get his butt down into the corner. However, in reality, this is player 3's fault if he's just being lazy and then needs to be benched. Another issue that I see with Horns offenses, but just specifically across most plays in general, is teams, when they run the Horns, they're usually quick hitters, which usually means that after this screen happens, you get that back screen. Let's say player 1 is not open. Let's say player 4 is not open. Because Horns is a quick hitting offense some of the time, not always, but some of the time, there's no secondary option, or teams just don't flow into a motion. So, for example, if you're running Horns, your first action is to get that ball into the high post. Just as an example, this is not necessarily how every Horns offense runs. And then let's say player 1 cuts. If neither player is open, player 1 could go to the post, set a back screen for player 3. That could be the secondary offense. This could be a pass to player 3. If it's not, this could lead into player 2 getting a screen, a kick out pass, which then leads into into an elevator screen for player 1. There's a lot of different offenses and secondary and third options that you can run out of a set play like Horns, but that's usually at older age groups, which then leads me to my third and fourth issue that I have with some teams running the Horns offense. Number 1 is if they go through a basic set and nobody's open, it becomes stagnated. Nobody knows what to do. Now, this is an issue with a lot of set plays, but coaches don't necessarily teach their team how to get open and then how to flow into a motion offense like a 5-out pass and cut offense, where now you got a cutter, you got a lift, you got to fill, and there's all of this off-ball movement after you've ran the initial set play. because the issue with set plays, again, is the fact that once the offense has been ran through, let's say, for example, a horn screen and roll, very basic play, but if nobody's open with younger players, this just becomes stagnated. They don't know. They say, "Coach, what do I do next?" And then you're screwed. So in reality, this could just happen like this, and now you can flow into let's say, a drive, kick, he would fill, swing offense, where player 1 drives, player 4 fills, player 1 kicks the ball out, player 3 swings. This could be a 3-point shot, just randomly showing a random play that you can run in a 5-out. You can get the 5-out complete guide down in the description below if you're looking for a very simple, easy offense to run after a set play. Another very major issue that I see in Horns offenses is when a team overcomplicates a play. So for example, let's say you have a 11-year-old team. I actually have this on paper. I've seen this ran a few years ago with a 11-year-old basketball team. They went and they had a screen up top, and I wrote this down because they ran it over and over and over again, and they never got it right until the end, and the coach kept on losing his mind. They had a screen up top. Player 1 was to use the screen, but when he uses the screen, he was to go into a dribble handoff with player 3. Player 4 was to roll off that screen, and then player 5 was to go down and set an elevator screen for player 2. Player 3 has that ball, and now he's looking for potentially 1 or potentially 2 for the layup. This is either a lay or a 3-point shot. I couldn't believe how overly complicated this was. They ran it over and over again. They screwed up every single time, and then the 9th time after 2 timeouts, they finally got it right, and the coach clapped. And meanwhile, they didn't score at all, and they were down by like 20 points. If you have a younger team, make an easier offense like the 5-out. Either way, make sure to go check out the Horns playbook that is down in the description below, or the complete guide to the 5-out offense, which is very simple, down in the description below. Anyways, my camera died, so you can't see my face. Make sure to go check out my other videos on this channel, subscribe, and I will see you guys again in my next video. Making a video about mistakes, and there's my mistake and my camera dying.